Usually I begin this video by discussing the matches I've actually watched because I hold a stronger opinion on those games naturally. However, this week I'm making an exception, and a justified one too, because what a fantastic result that is for Sunderland against Newcastle United, and I was gutted I couldn't watch it. The minute Sunderland got promoted, I've been looking forward to this fixture. The last couple of weeks in the build-up to this game, I was looking forward to it more and more. And it wasn't until about midweek last week I realised it's actually on at 2 p.m. on Sunday, because I just assumed it would be on at 4:30. Now, I understand why it's not, because of police fears, I imagine, and fans drinking, so on and so forth. I get the reasons why it was 2 p.m. on Sunday, but it doesn't mean I can't be frustrated I couldn't watch it, because I certainly was that. Anyway, great result. I've seen the highlights, and by the looks of it, there wasn't loads of it. But when it comes to games like this, it doesn't really matter how you do it. It doesn't really matter who scored, what the score is, how well you play. All that matters is you get the win. Bragging rights, especially given the circumstances, just a point between them going into the game as well. Sunderland exceeding expectations this season, and Newcastle United underperforming. And it's feasible that come the end of the season in May that Sunderland might actually finish above Newcastle. So it was quite an important fixture in that regard as well, in terms of the league position. But it all comes down to that rivalry. You want the bragging rights, and they got the win through a Waltermad own goal. Huge win for Sunderland. 7th in the league. They are having a brilliant season. They may be a little bit worried about what the next month holds with all the players going to the African Cup of Nations, but they put themselves into a great position that if they do go through a bumpy spell, it's all right. They might go from 7th to 12th. It's not the end of the world. Let's be realistic. It's still not the end of the world for Sunderland. I think they can finish in the top half this season. That would be a fantastic achievement for them. But for Newcastle, it's another bad result. Just as they were putting a little bit of form together, they've been inconsistent so far this season. Winning, losing. A couple of draws in there. But over the last couple of weeks, they just started to put a few wins together, back to back. Come up against Sunderland, bang, 1-0 Sunderland. Looked like it got a little bit tasty towards the end, but the celebrations and the atmosphere at the full-time whistle, the togetherness of that Sunderland squad, and that's what's really impressive, because none of those Sunderland players are from the area or anything like that, but they understood the fixture. You could tell they understood the fixture. The fans let them, made sure they understood the fixture. You could tell that Lebris knew how much it meant to Sunderland fans as well. And this is what I love. When a club gets their transfer recruitment correct, you don't just buy good players, you buy good characters as well. And I think Xhaka has shown that he is that type of player. So they bring him in, captain's armband on most weeks as well. But that Sunderland team looked like they've been played together for a few seasons. And I think that's what is the most impressive thing about Sunderland for me this season. It's not the results are there, the manager's there, of course, individual performances. There's a lot of impressive things about Sunderland. But they don't look like they've just been promoted. And they don't look like they bought pretty much the whole team in summer. They look like they've been playing top flight football for a few seasons. And this team has been put together over numerous transfer windows. I don't think you win a derby without that team spirit. I don't think you win a game of that magnitude. Because that Newcastle team have muddled up there. I did a little combo of both there. But that Newcastle United team has been put together over numerous transfer windows, that has been in the top flight for a while now, has been there for a little while. They did have two local lads in the team, in Dan Burn and Lewis Miley. Sunderland got the win. They're continuing to impress. Right, off to Turf Moor. Actually, before I do that, if you're new to Tartan, please do subscribe. That would be nice if you wouldn't mind subscribing. We could get 7,000 subscribers before the end of the season. That would be lovely. It's Christmas. It's Christmas. Show some generosity. Spread a little festive cheer. It's free. It takes 2 seconds. Subscribe. And also, please do drop a like on the video as well. If you're a Sunderland fan, you love to win, drop a like on the video. If you're a Fulham fan, an Arsenal fan, an Aston Villa fan, Chelsea fan, Man City fan, Liverpool... Okay, I'm getting desperate now. I'm going to stop. Right, Burnley 2, Fulham 3. This was a bad game. Like, these games I watched, right, the next few. This was a poor game. Fulham took the lead early enough. I mean, it was just a bad corner. Cleared out, bad defending by Burnley, a decent enough goal by Smith Rowe, and it would almost repeat itself a little bit with Calvin Bassey later on too. But I think the actual game itself was pretty low in quality, but I think Burnley made it easy for Fulham to take the lead, and Fulham tried to make it as comfortable as possible. And Hugo Chukwu, I think, was by far Burnley's best player, and Cullen was doing his best in midfield, but they're just lacking quality, Burnley. They're really lacking quality. And when you look at Sunderland and Burnley, you can really see the significance and quality that they've signed in the summer transfer window. Sunderland are signing international players that, well, we've just spoke about African Cup of Nations is here. I think it is 6 players. They're waiting to represent their country, and that's not even discussing the players that are currently there that are also internationals for other countries. But Burnley, they're just not good enough. 7 defeats in a row now for Burnley, and it feels like Wolves have been cut adrift. And you struggle to see how Wolves will get back into it. And it's starting to feel a bit like that with Burnley as well. It's starting to feel like a bit of a lost cause because Fulham were not in good form here coming into this game. Fulham are just a few points ahead of Burnley. And I don't think they were great themselves, but they didn't need to be. Harry Wilson with what would be considered a pretty crap goal in the sort of archives of Harry Wilson goals. He's usually scoring bangers last week, that outside of his boot curler. None of that on display, just tapping it into the back post. Good goal. An important win for Fulham, though. That's the type of game they had to win. And it's the type of game that Marco Silva usually gets 3 points in. But I'm still not convinced. I didn't watch that game thinking, Fulham have turned a corner. I watched it thinking Fulham are beating a poor side. Arsenal 2, Wolves 1. Oh, I was so conflicted watching this. So conflicted. Because on one hand, I want Arsenal to drop points, right? I do, right? I'd like to see Arsenal drop a few points. But on the other hand, I don't want Wolves getting any. So when Arsenal made it 1-0, I was sort of like, oh, Wolves are losing. Whoop. Then Wolves equalised. I was like, oh my God, Wolves are back in it. Arsenal aren't winning. Then I was like, hang on a minute, Wolves are getting a point away to Arsenal here. I was so torn. And I think I'm okay with the end result. I think I just need to be really selfish and put what's best for West Ham first rather than, well, still other elements of being a West Ham fan, I guess. But is anti-Arsenal because you're a West Ham fan? I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of anti-Arsenal from non-London club fans as well. Wolves look much, much better. Really well organised. The players gave everything. It left it all out on the pitch. And at the end of the day, Arsenal have won with 2 own goals. Massive slices of luck. You know, the first one, Johnson gets his fingertips on it, hits the post, hits him and goes in. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. Rob Edwards gets everything right in terms of getting a point out the game. The players do everything right in terms of getting a point out the game. It's just pure luck, or bad luck rather, you're a goal down. They didn't deserve it. I thought they were really, really good defensively, Wolves. Now, I've seen a lot of talk about Saka offside in the build-up. The ball goes over the top and Saka's offside and it gets headed out for a corner, and that's the corner that Arsenal scored from. And I've seen the rules come up as to why Saka wasn't offside. But I have to say, I ain't buying it, okay? Maybe the law was applied correctly. I just think the linesman thought he was onside and that was all. I don't think it's that deep. But I ain't having that. I'm not having that Saka... Now, I appreciate the phrase I'm going to use isn't part of the laws of football, okay? But I think football fans can relate to it. Because football fans speak with common sense rather than the letter of the law, usually. But you have to bring that into consideration, of course. But the common sense phrase, I think, is interfering with play. And that is subjective, of course. But I think it also just makes sense, really. Was Saka interfering in play? Well, yeah, because if Saka's not there, the defender don't head it. The defender lets it bounce out for a goal kick, right? If the defender knew Saka was offside, he doesn't touch the ball. He lets it bounce out, or he lets Saka touch it knowing it's offside. But because Saka's ran towards the ball, and the defender thinks Saka's onside, and the defender has to assume he's onside as well. Unless he's 100% certain Saka's offside, he has to play that ball. Could you imagine you let Saka bring it down and Arsenal go on and score? He's going to look right wally, isn't he? So he has to play it. But the only reason he has to play it is because of where Saka is. Now, part of me, I don't really... There's talk of VAR for corners. That's too far for me. Maybe we'll do a video about VAR. That's too far. I think the ball's gone out. It's an incorrect decision, in my opinion. It should have been flagged for offside. It wasn't. But the play restarts then. It's up to you to defend the corner. But this whole justification as to why it was the right decision to play on, I'm not buying it. I just think the linesman thought Saka was onside. And let's be real, the margin was so slim. And also Saka's blocking the linesman's view of the defence. Saka is the first man in front of the linesman. It's a difficult job calling offsides like that. I just don't think it requires justification as to why Saka wasn't offside. I think he was. But then again, I'm applying common sense, not the letter of the law. West Ham 2, Aston Villa 3. I mean, there was no conflict here. I was just gutted, leading twice. We get a gift from Villa. Konsa gives the ball. Great finish by Fernandes. Then they get a little bit of luck. Cross comes in, hits Mavpanos on the back, goes in. Then we're 2-1 up. Jared Bowen, good, nice little finish. And then it's 2-2, and Paqueta loses the ball. Then Rodgers hits an absolute stunning strike. I mean, it's an incredible strike, that. I keep watching it, and I'm annoyed about how much space he had. But the more I watch it, I think Buendia's movement's really good. It just pulls Freddie Potts out the way, and Rodgers just occupies the vacant space. Then I look at it, and I think, is our keeper too far off his line? He's on the 6-yard box. Should he be there? I think he's not that far off his line, really. But it's just the power and the way the ball moves. It's an insane strike from Morgan Rodgers for that goal. But obviously, I was really disappointed we lost because it's 3 points dropped. Not one, it's 3. But I was just frustrated with Nuno with the lack of subs. 2-1 up. I think the game was screaming out for Callum Wilson because when we were winning 2-1, there was a couple of chances where Bowen went down the right-hand side, but there was just no one in the box. So he couldn't cross it. And he was winning corners, but he should be able to put the cross in, but he couldn't do that because there was no one to aim for. I think we needed Callum Wilson on. And I think Nuno got his subs wrong, and it contributed as to why we lost. As for Aston Villa, though, listen, they weren't at their best. I think we were the better team for large parts of the game, but they got the win again. Another goal from outside the box from Aston Villa as well. I think it was 9 of 16 a couple of weeks ago. Now, they've scored some in the box since, but it's another, their 10th goal from outside the box in the Premier League this season. Ridiculous numbers. And you think it's unsustainable, but maybe it is because it's not just what you got. You got Kamara, Tielemans, Cash, Rodgers, Buendia. You got numerous players scoring from outside the box. It's not just one guy doing it all the time like John Duran did a couple of seasons ago. There's numerous Villa players scoring from outside the area. And you do believe that it's all, I hear about free kicks. I remember when Buendia scored that free kick a few weeks ago. I can't recall who it was against. And I remember reading about how there's so many people at Aston Villa that every free kick in games and in training is recorded and analysed so that they can just get a little bit more out of every single free kick taker. So it's no coincidence that they're scoring from outside the box because I'd imagine it's well coached. And I think a tactician like Emery don't let you shoot outside the box as much as Villa do if there's not evidence behind it. 10 goals, they've got some. Great win for Aston Villa, but bad. A bit of a gut punch for West Ham. Brentford 1, Leeds 1. I thought Leeds were the better team in this match. I'll be honest with you, Brentford were stinky. And Brentford have been stinky for a few weeks now. I think they're lucky they've got 20 points at this stage of the season because if they had a handful less, I think they'd be right in at that bottom bit scrapping. But because there's 7 points between Brentford and us, they feel safe. And they've got some favourable fixtures coming up, but they need to pull their socks up and buck their ideas up. And also Andrews. I've been pro Keith Andrews so far, but he's starting to expose himself a little bit. I don't know. Brentford went 1-0 up against Leeds. Undeserved, I think Brentford went in the lead. And immediately went to 5 at the back. Basically said to Leeds, go on then, cross it. Brentford are not good at defending crosses, even though they've got Collins, Van den Berg in the middle, Ayer sometimes on the pitch, and he was on the pitch at that time. 3 good players in the box for heading crosses. But the mark is terrible. It's a free header by Calvert-Lewin. It's a great header by Calvert-Lewin. But Brentford are not great at defending crosses, and Keith Andrews decided to let's encourage the opponent to cross the ball, which, when they've got Nonto and Goodmanson, it feels a little bit silly. Leeds got their equaliser, deservedly so, but I feel like they were the better team. However, I watched it, obviously upset about what just happened at West Ham, but there was a bit of me thinking, I'm not convinced these two teams are better than West Ham at the minute, but they've got more points on the board. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. Possibly, a decent point for Leeds, but I think the potential to get a 3 was there. But for Brentford, I think it's a poor point because they were playing a team below them at home, right? They need to be winning games like that. But they didn't deserve possibly anything. I think they got away with one there, Brentford. Chelsea 2, Everton 0. Now, I had this game on, but I'll be honest with you, I was doing other things at the same time as well. We've just moved house, and it's still, there's a lot to do. So I had the game on, and I was doing stuff while watching it. But Chelsea it felt like a quick lead that they took through Cole Palmer. Garnacho could have had 1 or 2 himself as well. And it felt like quite a low event, a low tempo game. Everton and Dye hitting the post too. And Dewsbury Hall going off is a big blow for them because I think if I had to vote for a player of the season for every team so far, there you go. I've got 2 video ideas come to my head. I just need to actually get my finger out and do them now. VAR and picking my player of the season so far for every team in the Premier League. Will that get 1,000 views? If so, I'll do it. I'm a little on this channel. I want to grow the channel. I earned £170, I think, for November. If I can get up to 200, that would be good. Need to do more videos. Anyway, Dewsbury Hall would possibly be my vote for the Evertonian. But they were a little bit underwhelming. However, this result, while I thought Everton might win, I think I just got a little bit carried away in my predictions because Moyes just don't win these games. He just doesn't. Chelsea away, Arsenal away, Liverpool away, Man City away, forget it. It's a bit white flaggish. Now, I don't think Everton played like that. I think Chelsea were just clinical. Cole Palmer with his goal. And Gusto, what's this about? Hey, talk about buses. No one's talking about buses. I've just mentioned it for the first time. I mentioned last time he scored a couple of weeks ago when he did score. And said, it's his first goal for Chelsea. And I sat here earlier on in this series, in the review, going, what? It's his first goal. I just assumed he'd already had one. He's got another one. And the same thing happened at the City ground with Sangare. No goals. Played plenty of games and bang. A few weeks later, bang, another goal for Gusto. Two good clinical finishes by Chelsea. Not the end of the world for Everton. And weirdly, more focus on Maresca not wearing a Chelsea jacket than there is on the performances on the pitch. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 3. I didn't watch this game at all. I didn't even have one eye on it. I had both eyes firmly on the West Ham game at this point. It looked like it was quite an even game going by the highlights. It looked like Palace had plenty of opportunities themselves. They just didn't take them. Pino hitting the bar. Sarr had a couple of half chances. Mateta. I mean, it's funny, isn't it, when you look at Mateta and Savinho. Now, Savinho is obviously through on goal and he's got much more time, but Mateta had an opportunity to try and round Donnarumma. It was just great goalkeeping in the end. But down the other end, Henderson gets Savinho and it's a penalty. But the game was already over at that point and Palace were chucking everyone forward. You just can't stop Erling Haaland, do you? The guy's an absolute monster. Good balling by Nunez, great header by Haaland. Phil Foden just back into the form he was 2 seasons ago. And I enjoy watching players like Phil Foden play football when they're at their top of the game, when they get the ball, close control, decent assist by Cherky, decent enough finish by Phil Foden. It was one of those that it wasn't loads of power and it wasn't pinpoint in the corner. It was just enough in both to keep it away from Henderson and put it in. An important win for Man City though, because they need to keep the pressure up on Arsenal. They would have watched yesterday's game, not Saturday's game, but they played on Sunday, so they would have watched the game yesterday on Sunday, watching Arsenal struggle against Wolves. And when Wolves equalised in the stoppage time, they must have been thinking, hello, we've got a chance here. Then to see what happened, they must have boom. And their former player involved as well in Jesus. They just need to keep winning, and hope that someone is going to do something against Arsenal. Because it will happen. Will Arsenal drop points between now and the end of the season? Yes. I am 100% certain about that. They will drop points. The challenge for City is to make sure that between now and then, they win every game that Arsenal win. So that when they do drop points, they capitalise on it. Liverpool 2, Brighton 0. It was all about Mo Salah, weren't it? It was always going to be about Mo Salah. And I feel a little bit sorry for Ekitike, actually, because I was thinking about this last week. And also there's a lot of focus on Salah, a lot of focus on the poor signings. And I actually think the Salah thing, has done a bit of a favour for the signings, because up until Salah had his outbursts, it's all been about how crap Liverpool have been, and basically it's because of the new signings. Isak, Wirtz, Kirkes, the new signings, Liverpool crap. But then when the Salah thing happened, all the attention went on that. Now, it's gone on Arne Slot as well, but what it has done is stop the conversations regarding the new signings a little bit. And I thought, I wonder if this will help them. Then when I was thinking about it, I thought, well, actually, Ekitike has been bloody good. But because the rest of them haven't been, he's gone under the radar a little bit. But that first goal from Ekitike is a brilliant finish. Touch finish, brilliant. The second one, the header, the run, the header, brilliant. He's had a really good season. He's still, what is he, 22 years of age as well? Great player, fantastic striker. But it was all about Salah coming on for the injured Gomez, getting an assist, and should have had a goal as well. And then that pass at the end for Van Dijk or Robertson was terrible. So it looked like Salah was off it a little bit and almost like justifying the decision to not play him. I've seen the transfer rumours still regarding him, and it feels a little bit like maybe there was something in it, and Arne Slot's been instructed perhaps to play him, to sell him in January. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But that is the case. It would suggest that Arne Slot won't be going anywhere anytime soon. He's just doing what he was told. But an important win for Liverpool. Where are they? 6th in the league now, I think they are. They're just closing the gap a little bit. I don't think they'll have their sights set on Arsenal and Man City, but they'll certainly have them set on Chelsea and Crystal Palace. And they should do as well. They should be looking at that, thinking, let's get up in there and let's get into that Champions League spot. Because come the end of the season, and it will be a bad season if they finish in, 4th. But there's still some silverware up for grabs. They can still turn it into a successful one. But in order to do so, I think they're going to have to remove all the headlines. Salah, new signings, Arne Slot. And when I say remove, it doesn't necessarily mean sack and sell. The new signings need to start clicking. I think Wirtz was good against West Ham, but needs to up his game a little bit. However, Ekitike, he's doing the business. Nottingham Forest 3, Tottenham 0. I've left this game to last, because I don't want it to come across like I'm bullying Thomas Frank or anything like that. Or that I'm only saying these things because I'm a West Ham fan. But my word, they're crap, aren't they? They're absolutely terrible. Spurs are terrible. And I know West Ham are terrible. Before someone goes, yeah, but you're in the bottom thing. We are also terrible. But they are stinky. They're absolutely stinking, Tottenham are. Thomas Frank is honking as Spurs manager. I've been defending Spurs fans on here for quite a few weeks now about those that want Frank's sack. I sit here and say they're within their right to want that. And I keep will. And to be fair, no one's arguing against me. But just in case someone tries to, look at it. I've only seen the highlights, and there was one for Spurs. Archie Gray had a volley. There might have been another one, but it was almost like put in there just so it wasn't all Nottingham Forest. It wasn't even worth putting in. There would have been better Forest shots that weren't in the highlights. It was just there to level it up a little bit. Even the highlights can't make Spurs look good. They're crap. They're absolute crap this season. Frank's tactics are crap. And I know they're missing a couple of key players, but I will keep saying it. I ain't having that this squad's bad or anything. They're not. They've got good players. They're just playing terrible. A lot of talk. Do you blame Vicario or do you blame Archie Gray? I think both to some extent. I think Archie Gray should be doing better. If he doesn't take a first touch, if he plays it first time to Romero, they're beating the press and they're away. And he's good enough to do that, Archie Gray. He's a fantastic young player. But it's a real heavy first touch. It's not just that he's taking a first touch, it's a really bad first touch, a heavy one. So it's a hospital pass from Vicario. But it's also one that, if I'm Vicario, I'm saying, I'm expecting you to play that first time. You're good enough to be playing that first time. So I think they're both to blame. A terrible, I know I'm jumping to the third goal. What a bad, no, it was a second goal. What a terrible cross from Hudson Odoi. There's no way he's shooting there. I'm not having it. He's crossing that. But do you know what? I think wingers like him cross it with one eye on scoring. So I don't think he's shooting. I think he's crossing it. But I think it's that type of cross that, well, if no one touches it and I get it on target, I've got a chance. It's just that it's too high and it flies in. It looks like a bloody good goal, though. Sangare's goal was good, though. Mwah! Oh, bit of Harry Wilson from last week. Outside a boot, curling it in to that far corner. Great goal. Brilliant win for Nottingham Forest. Important win for Nottingham Forest as well. And it's another crap defeat for Spurs. Listen, actually, no. Sometimes when I talk about teams, like Burnley, right? Burnley, pretty crap too. But I can insert disclaimers, which is, like Scott Parker, blah, blah, blah. And I do. I've got nothing against Burnley, is what I'm trying to say. But Spurs, I don't have any. I like the fact they're crap. I'm enjoying the fact that Tottenham are crap. When Man U and Spurs struggle and get beat, I enjoy it. I had a great... Do you know if it wasn't for the Europa League, I would have had a great time last season. 16th and 17th in the league for those two. The only annoying thing was one of them was going to win the Europa League. That was the only frustrating thing. I like seeing them be rubbish. Anyway, tonight we've got Man U, Bournemouth. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Bournemouth have got to do something, haven't they? What was it? 2 points in 6 games for Bournemouth, I think. That's not good enough. Man United have got like 1 defeat in 9 or something, but it doesn't feel like that, does it? I still don't trust them. And Amram's coming out with some random stuff now, comparing Kobe Mainoo to like Collier and Amas and stuff, which is like, oh, I played them last season when we were struggling, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is a completely different level of ability and a completely different player in terms of experience that you've inherited. Mainoo's more comparable to, I don't know, Ahmad. Also, he has no issues playing Heaven or... Even Lenny Yoro's quite young and inexperienced in the grand scheme of things, so it doesn't really add up. The guy's just chatting nonsense, isn't he? Anyway, I'm looking forward to the game tonight. I guess I kind of want Bournemouth to win. Not really that bothered. And I think the reason I'm not that bothered is because I don't think Man U are going to do anything. I think they'll finish 7th or 8th or something in the league like that. I think they're on course to do that as well. I'm just hoping that we see a good game of football, that's all. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. If you've got any thoughts from the weekend, please get them in the comments below. Who do you support? How did your team get on? Let me know. You don't even have to discuss your team. Maybe you just think Tottenham are crap and you also enjoy the fact that Tottenham are crap. If so, get involved in the comments below. Let's celebrate together. Thank you very much for joining me. Please do subscribe if you're new to the channel. Drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Catch you in a bit.